in a very old interview I've came across on the internet, 2006 I guess, you were both telling that you want to do some soundtracking in the near future. Is that still an ambition of yours? Do you think?
Yeah, it's something we think about, isn't it?
It's always there.
It's
Yeah, it'd have to be just the right thing.
Yeah, it'd have to be the right film. I'd like to think that we'd do something new, something by somebody new. I don't think we'd like to do a Hollywood soundtrack or a rom-com, Coming Up Daisy or whatever.
What's appealing about making a film soundtrack?
I think our music is quite dramatic, and I think it also, in other places, takes its time, and I think it's been described as cinematic many, many times, and it's just a different discipline. It's something we've not done before, and I wouldn't have to write any words.
We're good. I think the ideal for us as well is, you know, we don't always write to a structure necessarily. Do you know what I mean? A song will start somewhere and it will end somewhere, and there'll be a journey, you know, to get to this point. And we're not always very good with sort of verse chorus thing. Sometimes we struggle a bit with that, don't we?
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, it'd work for us, I think, really well. You know, I think that's where it's like B-sides. When we have to do B-sides, they're really fun to do because you really don't have to, you know, think about it being you know, it can be as obscure and bizarre as you want it to be. You know what I mean? And you know, that's probably our strengths, I think, you know, when we can kind of like go left field a little bit and not worry about, you know, not have any constraints or anything like that. That's the best bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you still have you were talking about the journey into music. Do you still have the feeling that when you're writing new music that journey is always new, or do you have the feeling that it's maybe...
We try and stretch ourselves, and not literally, although we do.
We do sometimes.
We try and stretch ourselves musically, and sort of, that doesn't necessarily entail finding new sounds as it used to. Sometimes it's honing down a part to its very, very bare bones. There's a lot more minimal stuff on this record than the one before. And we've always aimed to have an album that sounds like it was made in the same space, so that the whole album, which is the point for us, that's primarily what we do before we perform it or anything, before they're a collection of songs, it's an album. And we've always loved albums that have a very specific sound, like a Tom Waits record or a PJ Harvey record. And we really fought to make the room work, to make the environment work, because we like to think that we make records that leave you in a different place than you were when you started listening to it. That's the end game, really. So, yes, it's always new. Yes, it's always testing. But nearly always we've had different life experiences, we've listened to different music since we made the last record, so there's an awful lot of talking at the beginning of each album. And exploring each other's heads for ideas, and you know, there's never been a better time for music. I don't think it's so easy to communicate your ideas now. It's affordable, and it's, you know, I appeared on the Deus album without leaving the studio I was working in at the time. You know, Tom phoned me up and said, "Would you help me out with this track?" And I said, "Yeah." I spent a morning singing it, and then he sent me the mastered version 2 days later. I mean, that is just beyond our wildest dreams when we were 18, you know, and that's what you can do. You can pretty much do anything now.
Okay, well, that sounds like a good end. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, man.
Cheers.